Together, we shall change the course of the future. Hello, and welcome back to the Lost Legends of Scadrial Mistborn Adventure Game Podcast. I'm your host and narrator, Trevor. I go by 5th of Daybreak Online, and with me, I have the rest of the Fluffles Gang.
Hi, I'm John. I go by Cloverlight Online, and I play Tony Darkomancy.
I'm David, and I play Lord Falcom, probably, today, maybe. Who knows?
I'm Kelly, and I play Merda.
Let's jump back in. We honestly don't have too much more to do, so we're going to jump back to Warwick as you run back to the building that you saw Alloy run out of, where you have done all of your business with him so far, and you come up to the building and see that it is in flames.
Wait, does David know anything that happened last time?
Warwick or David?
Yeah, I listened
David.
to the episode. Yeah.
David, yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of 3 views on YouTube. Okay, thank you very much. I'm pretty sure. So, the entire building just fucking completely in flames, Trevor.
It's not completely in flames, but you do see that there's smoke that's pouring out, and like you, in the windows, you see like the flickering of lights.
Well, they said that he was in the basement, so unfortunately he's gonna have to assume the worst, and he's gonna like look around for any of the other members of his party. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make you roll just because there's nobody around. You take a look around, and it seems pretty deserted. There's a crowd that's been starting to gather, just like pointing at the fire. Nobody's come to like try to put it out yet, but there's nobody around that is familiar to you.
Well, he's going to head back to where the Lord Mistborn was, and bar finding anything that away, he's going to head back to the Lord Mistborn's manor.
Yeah, I think with you not going inside to see if there's anybody left who needs rescuing, we can go ahead and kind of just jump time here. I want to play this a little bit loose. I do consider the campaign pretty much officially over at this point. There's not a lot of changing of outcomes that's going to happen. So I don't know. It really just depends on how much fun you guys want to have, kind of narrating those outcomes. If you want to be more hands-on, leave some things to chance, role play a little scene that we do something with, or not. But, there's a general idea I have with where the story is going, that, you have your choice as to whether or not your character participates in. Merida probably a little bit less than anybody else. But I think that maybe we start with Tony, if that's okay.
Okay. I mean, last we left off, Tony went to the guard and told him that he needed help.
So the way that I kind of see Tony's story playing out from here, and, feel free to tweak, add, subtract. The Lord Mistborn views Tony as the useful idiot that he is, and thinks that the best way to deal with him is not to try and make an example out of him, because there was no actual malice there towards him, but to try and just reduce the problem by taking the toy out of the toolbox. And so the Lord Mistborn and his retinue would offer Tony the opportunity to be a professional greeter, performer, however you'd want the title to be phrased, for the household.
Oh, for like the royal household?
Yeah, for the Lord Mistborn's household.
Yeah, I think Tony would want to be the royal magician.
Yeah, so he would not have a lot of patience for sitting down and negotiating that with you, but like if to whatever shiny title that he has to dangle in front of Tony, I think he's more than happy to do. So you get given the title of a royal magician, and if you want to, I will let you take the reins and make a little scene if you are so willing.
Sure. So are we starting with the Lord Mistborn coming back and telling him he's going to make him a magician, or where are we starting this at?
That's entirely up to you. We can roleplay that if you want to, or you can just kind of end it like you began and narrate a little magic show. We can do some roles for that magic show, however you want to do it.
Yeah, I think we just do with the offer. Really? Thank you, Lord Mistborn. You will not regret this. I'm going to come up with the biggest, best show ever, but one that will not set the place on fire. I promise I'm done with fire for now. Maybe we can do some lighting. But I will not set anything else on fire, and it's gonna be amazing. I gotta go talk to Mr. Bornham. We've got plans to make. Oh, Fluffles will love this.
Wazing restraint in the face of danger is the knowing of valor. And he says that, and he turns, and Lord Spook walks out of the room to leave you with his steward to work on details.
And Tony's already heading out the door to go tell the celebration to Mr. Bornham and Fluffles.
Yeah, and I think that for as long as Tony wants to live that life, he's given a generous, if not luxurious, stipend to keep him out of harm's way, as well as lodging that's close to the manor. Is there anything we didn't end up doing much with Tony's family in the end? Is there any unresolved plot lines there you see kind of being disrupted by Tony's accidental ascension to royal magician?
I don't think so. He was already disowned, so it's not like his mom cares about what happens to him. And I'm pretty sure Wittens would be happy with him having stable employment.
Wittens would be willing to come with you as a personal servant, or do his own thing with going back to the what is your regular name? Shoot, it's been so long since I've thought about it. Not Alphonse, but the house name.
Oh yeah, it's been long enough. I don't remember either.
We don't remember what his real house name is. But that's okay. I assume that you want to keep.
Yeah, if possible.
Are there any other storylines that you want to touch on before we wrap up Tony's storyline?
I don't think so. I think he got what he wanted. I guess the last bit would be he would, definitely still be finding a nice cave for Fluffles to hang out in, where he can spend time with friends instead of just keeping him cooped up in the house and giving him a little more freedom.
Yeah, and I think we already kind of covered that in game with Wittens taking care of some of that for you.
Yeah, I don't know if we I don't remember if we resolved it or not. I know we started it.
I think you had a place, but you had taken Fluffles from that place for the performance.
Ah, okay. Well then, then Fluffles will be back.
Because Fluffles had gained some mass while he was out at the cave, I believe.
Well, he gained mass when he got loose. I don't know that he gained any more.
I vaguely remember.
I think it depends on if Tony's paying other people to take care of Fluffles, then Fluffles is going to grow progressively bigger.
The question is Fluffles considered a chonk now?
That's a good question.
By Mistwraith standards, absolutely not. I mean, you look at the artwork they have for Mistwraiths in the Mistborn Adventure Game Manual, and you've got, pieces, halves of horses.
Yeah, they're 12 to 15
Okay, but does
feet
Tony
tall,
consider Fluffles a chonk now?
Monstrosities of gelatinous body parts. It's pretty wicked, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say at this point Tony's let him go loose, so he's getting to be a big boy.
Yeah, Fluffles has started to become a little bit of a chonk then.
Nice.
Makes them all the scarier when they do the pretend to eat Tony trick in the magic show.
You've gotten to the point where like you have like a little contraption that drops him on top of you.
Does Mr. Bornham manage to achieve some lightning tricks for Tony?
You know, I don't think that that's for me to say. I think that's something that we got to let the listeners decide if just how fanciful Tony and Bornham are able to make things progress.
Fan freedom.
Well, yeah, that's it for Tony then.
Let's move on to Merda. So you've kind of hitched your wagon to Alloy. And I assume that you're not looking to renege on that in any way.
Nope. We're chilling.
So, let's say it's been somewhere around a month. Through your various informants, you have found out that Tony's been offered his job. You also hear something that you could infer about the discovery of Tajmil's body in the house that burned down unexpectedly. As going from the official sources. And after about a month, you get a tip about where Liv, Tradition, and I think one other person got captured. Lady Fatine got captured. You get a tip about where they are being housed. And so you work with Alloy to try and organize a jailbreak. Is this something that you would want to take control of the scene for?
First off, Alloy's good with me. He's not pissed at me.
No, you're all in with them. You made the right choice.
You saved their day, really. So
okay, I would have thought he would have threatened me more.
You kind of saved his ass at the end
what?
there. So
yeah, that's fair. Sure, I'm good to roleplay that.
Yeah. Do you want to take control of the scene, or do you want to make it more of an interactive kind of thing?
I don't think I know enough of Alloy's character to be able to do that, so I'll leave it in your hands. Like the total narration, and I'll just roleplay what you give me.
Okay,
cool?
So let's start out with, give me an influence roll give me a resources roll to see if you're able to bribe some information about the way that the prison is being run, like guard patrols and whatnot.
That's 4, right? It's just my resources dice, right?
Yep.
Okay. I have 2 4s.
Yeah, so you've been working closely with Tessney for over a month now, ever since you were able to rescue Alloy. And with the combined forces of both of your information networks, you're able to get a pretty good information, or pretty good layout for where the guards are patrolling, and what the change of patrols look like. You've got some pretty good information on this prison. So you've got a couple of options for how you would want to go and try and make this prison break happen. Is this something where you want to try and bribe somebody to just get them out? Do you want to try and infiltrate, pretending to be guards? Do you want to go a brute force method? Force method? It's
So
not necessarily that it's your decision, but for the sake of role playing this scene, it's your decision.
I think Merida would go with the first 2. She would bribe someone to kind of, throw people off, but also infiltrate. So, bribe someone to be we have a new guard joining, they're new, they don't know what they're doing, so be a little forgiving of their mistakes, that kind of thing.
Go ahead and give me an influence roll.
Okay. Two 5s, 2 3s, and a nudge.
Give me a wits roll as well.
Okay. 2 2s and a nudge.
So devising a plan between the changing of the guard shifts and some strings you're able to pull, you're able to get somebody on the inside. Who is it that you get on the inside?
What do you mean, the guards?
Or were you trying to get somebody on the inside, or are you just trying to sneak in and have somebody open the door for you?
No, I was gonna have someone, like, help me in. I was gonna disguise and go in.
Yeah, so you're able to pick somebody out, and then use your strings to have them get you a guard uniform and allow you entrance in. I think the last thing I'm going to have you do is give me a charm roll and a spirit roll, and your spirit will be back up to the full 5. So give me the charm roll first.
Okay. 2 4s.
Yeah, so as you get into this this prison, you've been doing research for a while. You've studied the files enough to start to be able to put names to faces. And you go in and, like, anytime anybody questions you, you're like, Mike, how could you possibly say that you don't know me? Like, we've worked together here since you started 5 years ago, and you want to say that you don't remember my name? Like, I'm just offended. You pull a bunch of those kind of, Jedi mind social tricks on people as you get yourself into the prison. And then lastly, give me a spirit roll.
I just rolled that. That's 4 1s.
I think with 2 1s, you have a couple of close scrapes, but nothing incredibly unexpected happens. And so, it's stressful. And you, there's a couple of moments when you think your cover's about to be blown, when you see somebody who is like a supervisor coming down the hall, and you're just barely able to get around a corner before they get close enough to see your facial features. But eventually you're able to get to the prison cells and, get them out and smuggle them out of the prison, and leaving, the gang back at full strength to go back to Alloy.
Can I add one thing?
What's that?
I want to pull a flower out of my pocket and give it to Lady Fatine.
Well, I didn't think I'd see you again. It's always nice to see a pretty face when you get out of prison.
It's even nicer to see a prettier face. She's gonna wink and lead them out.
And, you two, head out of the prison. I imagine you rescue her first.
Oh, yeah. Merda has a huge crush on her.
Kelly, are there any other story threads that you want to touch on before we consider Merida's story wrapped up?
I think we've handled Merida's story pretty great. Like, she got a crew that actually feels strong and is not around Tajmil that drives her insane. She will miss Fluffles. And, yeah, that's about it. She's still gonna flirt heavily with Lady Fatine through the whole time.
Yeah, I think that you two start to have a kind of Bad Girls on the Run vibe going.
I love it. It's perfect.
That leads us to Feldar. You get back to the Lord Mistborn's mansion to the unfortunate news of the Lord Mistborn, or of Alloy's escape.
Everything I did. Undone. Like everything. I walk away for 5 minutes, and it's like, fuck it. Might as well have not.
Is that all me?
It kind of sucks in a way, because like it was the separate recording, so there was nothing I could do to intervene in that. When like I'm thinking about it in my head, and it can't be more than like, 10, 12 city blocks from where the house is burning or whatever. So it's kind of farcical, like how the movement goes because of the recording.
Well, I think that there's a way to make this not all bad for Feldar.
It
and
is
not all
what it
losses.
is.
A week passes. And I assume at a certain point you've revealed your identity to.
Well,
Spook,
I had
at the very
hinted
least,
heavily at it before, so
yeah. At the very least, Tensoon knows.
He would probably want to break down just what was going on, because like it's not common knowledge that even Spook is in on hemorrhagy to that extent, right? So he'd want to know, where did those spikes come from? A, or B, like, what's the plan, man? Asking for a friend.
Just meta-wise, he does tell you that those spikes are old Inquisitor spikes that he was led to. He doesn't tell you by who. But in the aftermath of your debriefing of this incident, Tensoon and Spook, more Spook than Tensoon, comes up with an idea and makes an offer to you. Tensoon, or Spook, wants to execute the prisoners as quickly as possible so that way they're not sprung from Alloy, who now could have, any number of hemorrhagically how do I want to say this? Imbued powers. But he's willing to take a risk to get a man on the inside.
Anyone you need. I can, if it's okay with the boss upstairs.
Spook doesn't really concern himself, or I should probably just do this as Spook. Sazed is Sazed, and he has his nature. Has always had his nature in some ways. But there's a funny thing about the Khandra contract, that you need a dead body, and you've never needed to ask questions about how it came to be. So I think that maybe this one time, as it has happened in the past, it's out of Sazed's hands, and we will get you a body if you're willing to be our man on the inside.
Moving past the old contract, redefining it in my own sense. I was more speaking as to the general, what you intend to do moving forward. I'm merely trying to tell you where my true loyalties will always lie. But I'm
Sazed and I may not always see eye to eye, but we have the same goals.
And as long as those goals align, I'm happy to work with you. And whatever that means.
And go ahead. And so it's not long after that to when you're taken to a cell where Tradition's body is lying inside of the cell. And they tell you that he's going to be your new persona, and that you're going to assume the role of Tradition until such a point that they can neutralize the threat of Alloy.
Not to be grim, but I think that he would do it the old way, which is he would interrogate Tradition beforehand. So I think that there's going to be it's not just he walks in and he's like, shit, what's he talk like again? Like,
yeah, they didn't. They didn't cap this guy.
There was
and be
the
like,
proper
accommodation. There's a point comes where you're presented with a dead Tradition, and that is going to be your new job.
I will become Tradition.
So it's a couple of weeks after that you've spent inside of this prison cell that the door opens outside of one of the normal times to let you out to exercise or to feed you or anything like that. And standing in the hallway is Merda, Lady Fatine, and Liv.
Excellent.
You ready to get out of here?
I was hoping for this, but not so soon. Let's go. And he'll walk out.
And they walk out and they lead you out of the prison. David, are there any other story beats that you want to touch on before we wrap up for your character?
Just a Khandra doing his job, man. Starting the grand tradition of the Faceless Immortals. That would be it.
And I think that's pretty open-ended where I want to leave it. I do want to talk, and we'll have maybe a little round table here after that. But just for a second about how I imagine, and not to guarantee that this is how it's going to happen, but resolving the story beyond this point. For all intents and purposes, the story of the Fluffles Gang has ended. The stories that these characters were embarking on at this point in this campaign have finished, and though that, as far as recording is concerned, has ended here. I do think that this story also has left us in a unique position where we've created this villain, Alloy, and there's a lot of room for stories involving Alloy beyond this point. It might be the case where some of the characters come back and we resolve that in a recording session. I'm not entirely sure, but one thing that I know that I want to try and do is write some supplements, some supplemental quests, and release them to our fans who might be wanting to play the Mistborn adventure game themselves, or possibly for me to run at future conventions like Gen Con for any fans who might want to play. Just following the post-Fluffles Gang Alloy storyline. We've left characters in some really interesting places. Merda is in with the villains, working to advance their interests. Feldar is once again working with Merda, unbeknownst to her, as tradition, as a mole. It seems like there's a lot of really rich ground here to have future gameplay, not just for us here at Lost Legends, but for anybody who might want to bring their own crew and throw them up against Alloy. I think one of the problems that the Mistborn adventure game faces is the lack of these big villains to face, and you know, if you're a fan of the show, now you've got one. You've got one that we've spent a considerable amount of time developing to have a semi-plausible backstory, if that's important to you. And I think that it would be cool to share that villain with you now that we have finished in establishing him. So look to see information on that in the future. We will, of course, be going back to the well-roasted dusters to continue on that storyline. But if the Fluffles Gang is interested, we can take some time to talk about how we feel about, you know, the last season, the campaign as a whole, whatever we'd like to discuss.
Sounds good.
I'm cool with that.
I will say that the strangest part of this experience for me is actually finishing an RPG campaign, period. David doesn't have this problem, but this is the first one I've ever been in start to completion, let alone ran start to completion. And that's weird because for me, tabletop RPGs are something that you play like maybe 8 sessions at most, and then nobody ever talks about it again.
Yeah, same here.
I think my weirdest thing about this is that we started while I was still in high school, and I've graduated college. So it's been a journey through my whole college career.
Almost as long as my relationship, which is, you know, reaching up there. It's a fun system.
I've definitely enjoyed playing it. I like what we've done with our characters.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun with it. I think with the long time we've had between recordings with this crew, I've kind of lost touch with some of the feel for it, just because it's been so few and far between.
Yeah, that is one of the more regretful things about the logistics of getting 4 or 5 people on a Discord call for 2 hours at the least, you know.
And to give listeners context, there would be times that we'd go 6 months without recording,
it's kind of absurd. Like the fact that we continued recording is almost more surprising to me, because any group that I've been part of that does go that long without playing, just it doesn't get back rolling because people have lost touch completely with their characters, kind of, you know, or whatever thread they're on.
Give it up for Trevor. I mean, he's been doing a great job.
I usually have to
King of the Cat Wrangling.
Refresh myself every time. Like, what was I even doing? So, like, the recording aspect of it is actually probably helpful in that regard of us continuing it, because we can actually, some of us at least, look back and be like, hey, this was what we were doing. Whereas sometimes in like D&D stuff I've done, like it's like, hey, what were we doing 2 months ago before holidays happened? And we're like, I don't know, but it's over now. On to the next thing. Like it. So we've kept a continuity because of the recording, which I think has helped us stay together even after 6-8 months not recording. I feel like there was almost a year stretch one time. I think that was when you started doing the Alloy.
I don't think it was just 6 months.
Was it?
I think maybe 8 months was our.
Because I feel like it was around the time that you started doing the Alloy era too, so there was a less demand on us.
Oh, that was only like 6 months.
I guess I'm not.
So I think the year one was basically between the second and third season.
I see. Yeah, that would also make sense for that wonderful startup. It's been fun though.
Or maybe it was between like the third episode of the third season. I think I can
say,
I feel like it's gotten longer spaces between our recordings as we've gone on past the second season.
Yeah. I think the gap leading up to the second season was pretty big. Because, like, we were very rusty for the second season. That was only about premiere.
6 months.
Yeah, but we were still very rusty with even recording aspects, I think.
Well, yeah, that's true. But what I'm saying is that one was definitely not the longest period. But I think it kind of got longer as time went on.
Most definitely.
I mean, people still like it, I think, despite the awkwardness that we've managed to keep a good energy rolling.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Who's awkward? No one here's awkward.
I think she's talking about that first episode of the second season.
that was not awkward. That's too gentle of a word. I guess I still have repressed memories of the first recording to never hit air, which is like, that one was even worse.
Yeah, I don't know how we'd managed to be worse the first time, but like the
I mean, like it couldn't have been worse. Yeah, onward.
Let's not talk about that.
Let's talk about this third season recording.
I don't really have much of an agenda to drive this conversation, so I guess just if anybody has any more thoughts that they want to share before we close this series out.
I could not think of any ending for Tajmil other than the one that happened with the amount of fuckery he did.
Tajmil built that pyre and then set it on fire himself. I mean, Tony set it on fire, but he set it on fire himself.
I'm honestly surprised more of the party did not die in that fire, and I feel like if we had a harsher game master, there would have been more party deaths. Yes, it's not about death and like actual like all that stuff, but it was a crazy scenario, and it was endemic of what this party got up to on the reg. I mean, like, start a bunch of fires. How do we get out of this again? And somehow still managed to, mostly. It was coming from the first season.
I firmly believe that even if we had a harsher DM, Merda would have made it the fuck out. She snapped some dude's neck. Like, that is my proudest achievement. Like, one of the worst physical ones, and she just snapped a dude's neck. Like,
you got that?
Forever proud.
I will say about Tajmil, in the end, he did get the house.
Yeah.
All the teacups he could want.
Be careful what you wish for.
All in all, I'm really happy with my character and how she developed through the story and how her ending ended, you know.
If I could do it all again, there'd be a lot I'd change. I don't think my character really fed in with the group at all. And a lot of the aspects I wanted to explore with my character just didn't feel right in the setting that we got ourselves into all the time. I think there was one point... Yeah. So...
I think part of the group dynamic was that none of us really fit together.
We've learned through this process is that you definitely need to tie those crew ties way tighter in the beginning. Like, there needs to be no question of loyalty, not like, you guys meet in a tavern and, like, figure this is, like, you probably need like some very dedicated like crew building and group stuff, because I felt like we could have explored a lot more sometimes if we were more interested in each other's business at all, or even if some of us were interested in our own business. Yeah, but the
conflict did add like spice to it, because like you had people wondering like what we're gonna do next and how we're gonna interact with each other. It had like the interpersonal conflict that left people wondering.
I guess personally, I don't feel fulfilled in a group that like feels so will they, won't they at any given point of time, right? I guess I could see how it might be entertaining from a viewer aspect, but I would want to play this game next time with like a solid crew. Like I don't want, and if crew loyalty ever needs to like be put into question in any regard, like I want it to be a major thing, not like just I don't trust these people at all. You know, like I don't even trust these people to go to the bathroom and not light the house I'm in on fire. Like at certain points, you know, or not steal my toilet.
Well, and to feed into some of David's point, it does say that it's specifically in the rule book and caution you against doing what we did. I think that I take a good amount of the blame for some of those feelings. And I hope that didn't ruin the experience for you altogether.
I'm just saying, like, personally, if I'm going to, like, say what I learned from 3 seasons of recording or whatever, like, I would not get into the group dynamic that we did. But it was still fun regardless, and I'm not, like, shaming anybody's character or how they played. I just feel like, yeah, I don't know how to express it properly, I guess. But
no, I get what you're saying, and I agree at some point. But I also think that our story ended up being entertaining with the way it worked.
Like if we, I think we could have explored a little bit more about Alloy had we not had to deal with Tajmil stealing teacups every other episode, or you know, random Tony Feldar Falcom conflict, or random Tony shenanigans, or all of the different kerfluffles we got ourselves into that added character in its own unique way, which was fun. But you know, didn't exactly explore Alloy to the extent that I think we could have, like, or the actual main story. We were pretty much, it seemed like, 90% side kicks and then 10% main story at points, which
wasn't that part of role playing though, that we're the main
Sorry.
parts and the other characters are to support us?
You meant side quests, not sidekicks.
Yeah. No, I felt like all of our characters had agency, almost too much agency at points, I would say. But like, and I'm not like down talking it, because I think it was a good experience and everything, and everybody played their characters excellently to what they were trying to do. I think I feel like I failed playing the character I set out to, but still had fun playing an interesting character.
Well, how about some thoughts from you, Trevor? We've all brought up our own stuff in detail. Do you have anything more to add?
No, I think I agree with a lot of what David said, and, you know, that's something that I've definitely taken into consideration as we've gone further into this campaign, and, you know, with hindsight being what it is, you can't change that now, but I do agree, and want to reinforce what he said, that, you know, you need to have a solid group dynamic, and I think that the Mistborn adventure game gives you the tools to do that a lot better than we did here. And so I want to say, as a caveat to everything that David said, that is definitely not a flaw with the system, and that the rule book is very good about helping guide you through that process. So don't feel like if you've listened to this and haven't played yet that the rule book isn't going to help you.
But also counterpoint, I do think that most people who played most other RPGs that is a foreign concept, right? Like they are 100% used to, you guys meet in a tavern, you guys are on a boat together, you guys are just like, run into each other and something starts happening, right? But like it's different. It's its own beast, I think. In a good way, I think.
I do think that I also limited us in some ways, just trying to find a space where there would be an interesting story to tell about Mistborn that wouldn't interact with the main story.
Good on
that. The Cassandra has, I think that it has the potential to be there, but as I played a lot in Era 2 with the cowboy system, just Wild West is just a lot of fun. And it's fun to play even just normal wacky stuff in the Mistborn Adventure system. So, if I'm given takeaways here of what I've learned as a narrator, don't be afraid to do the mundane stuff in this system. Like tried and true little side quests are going to be interesting for people who have their misting or ferrochemical powers in the Wild West setting. And I don't think that you need to fall into the trap of this needs to be a larger than life storyline to be interesting, because I've had fun just fixing the election in Era 2, goofing off doing that sort of thing. So
putting on a show.
Don't fall into the trap that you have to follow these larger than life stories to make it interesting and fun for your players, because I think that's also part of what dragged us down in a couple of points, is that I wanted this epic tale, and a lot of people don't necessarily need it to be that epic to have fun.
Yeah, you see, most of what we did was not your main story, Trevor. Like, let's, I think we can count the episodes on both hands, kind of deal, that we actually were like thoroughly committed to main story quest. At least after the AT&B heist. I don't know. Yeah, fun time.
I think a takeaway from this is that we had fun, and in the future we have stuff we can do to improve it.
Yeah. It was a cool setting that I thought
absolutely.
you did a good job exploring the intricacies of it.
Yeah.
I'm
still impressed with the foreshadowing you managed. Like foreshadowing in an RPG where half of the episodes are us just like, oh, let's follow this boat. See where that goes.
Well, thank you. I definitely tried to put at least a couple of beats in there to signal where things were going. I gave up on that a little bit more.
Yeah, I remember you were trying to set stuff up for Era 2 players in Era 1 things at certain points, but that's pretty complicated to even imagine.
Well, and that's something that I still might end up doing with
it's easier now
writing
because like you can do just about anything you want, because it's not open-ended and something that we might actually conflict with character decisions, right? Mm-hmm. Which is the hard part of it. You're trying to wrangle cats into a bag while lining cats up for a story, a month later.
I have to say, I love the absolute irony and poetry of Merda, first few episodes. Okay, this guy Tessney, who's my secret contact and has done nothing wrong to me, I don't trust this guy. Fast forward to the final episodes. Okay, Tessney, this guy who just literally tried to kill me, I got a good feeling about him. I trust this guy.
Okay, but that was me as a person messing up.
But it's funny.
that was Kelly being a fuck up.
It's kind of funny because in the end, both Falcom and Merda did end up with what they wanted, working with true professionals.
True.
And Tony got what he wanted too, so
that is true.
It's a win-win-win.
As Trevor pointed out, Tajmil got what he wanted.
It's not what he wanted, but it's
and we
probably
all got what we wanted, with Tajmil ending dead.
He got the house.
Actually, I decided that he deserved it, so yeah.
No, it's what we wanted.
He is the last one who will ever have use of that house.
He did not want it. The rest of us did.
If that's not ownership, I don't know what is.
Thought about doing a little excerpt to go grab his bones, but then I'm like, why would I want those?
Yeah, let me impersonate somebody who was wanted dead by about 7 different factions.
Maybe just to start some shit. Just break into fucking Tony's house, beat the shit out of Wittens, and steal his teacup and leave. Like, blow their mind for the rest of
Grove Street
their
Ballers.
Lives. No, I wouldn't mess with Grove Street Ballers. Those guys are just living their lives. But I would just want to mind fuck Wittens, because bros be bros. It'd be fun. I always enjoyed Wittens.
On the weekend, that's Lord Falcone's hobby. Fuck with Wittens.
I mean, you're immortal. You've got to find something to entertain yourself, right? Like, yeah, like, just like...
Everybody needs a hobby.
World-ending mind gaslighting is probably, you know, either that or he would do something so mundane, like walk in his Tajmil and, like, give Wittens a brand new tea set. And then just walk out without saying a word. Like just existential, like, what is going on moments would be fun to do as a
That would be funny.
You know? Then not use them for, like, the whole Survivor bullshit business. Like, screw that. Like, I just want to have fun.
Yeah, we don't need to start a new religion to fundamentally change the course of the human race. We just need to gaslight one 80-year-old man.
Keep the goals small.
I think that that's about everything that I have to say on the subject for right now. Does anybody else have anything that they want to say before we wrap it up?
I don't know when the next opportunity will present itself, but it's been fun. It's been a great, however many year-long adventure. So
it's been like 4 years, right?
Yeah, I'd say it should be closer to 5 at this point.
Wow.
2017.
Wow. Owen Wilson.
So I guess we will then circle back around and thank everybody here for tuning in for the last 3 years since we've been posting things. Obviously, we're not done. There's still going to be more Lost Legends content in the future, but we finished a campaign. Like, congratulations to you guys, the players, too, for finishing a campaign. It was rocky, it was bumpy, it was messy, but you know, we made it through. Yeah, this is a big moment, and I'm very happy to share it here with you three and with all of our listeners here, and we look forward to sharing other milestones with you guys in the future. So we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
Mistborn and all related properties are owned by Brandon Sanderson and Dragonsteel Entertainment. The Mistborn adventure game is a product of Crafty Games. Special thanks to Steve Argyle for letting us use his artwork for the logo, and to Boardroom Design for putting the logo together for us. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at LLOS Podcast, or give us an email at lostlegendsofscadrial@gmail.com. We hope that you'll like and share and give us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.